All right, here's our assignment for, what was yesterday? Tuesday? Tuesday, May 15th. I had you guys open your weather log information in Excel. And most of you are done with that, but not everyone is, right? So if you're not done, you need to get it finished first. And I'm opening up my file, which has a lot more information. So mine's going to look a little bit different than yours. Yeah, I don't know why it's so slow. Okay, so once it's open, I won't use that side of it, alright? I'll move it over. Once you have your file open, I told you that I wanted your headings across the top. Okay, I still want that. And underneath, some of you put in like units that went along with it. If it was temperature, for example, you might have put degrees, Fahrenheit, humidity, percentage, dew point, degrees Fahrenheit, etc. I don't want those there, so just delete them out.
Yesterday you said that we could have them.
Yeah, but it's going to end up messing with your graph a little bit. So just delete them out. Just take them out. You guys should all know what units they're in anyways, right? Just make sure to include those in your graph. So for this, we want to do our date. So I click on the top column A, which selects that whole column. My date, I push the command key on my keyboard, and then I want low and high. So I select all three of those columns. Now I go up to charts, and what kind of graph did we want? Line graph. So hold up. Click on line, and we want the one that's the fourth one over. That's right. So it's this one, and it's going to have, each piece of data is going to have a little square where it is, and that's just going to connect those lines. So click on that. Sorry. You guys will not have to worry about some of the issues that I would have to worry about here. For example, when you look at mine, you can see going right through my graph is numbers, right? And that's just because it gets really, really cold, and so my horizontal axis ends up being right at 0 degrees Fahrenheit. But we all know it gets a lot colder than 0 here. So it stays at 0, but the temperatures go underneath it, and so it just overlaps a bit. So you don't need to change this like I need to. But basically you should end up having your temperatures being connected by the squares, and you should have the low and the high off to the right side. We said that we would want to format our temperatures excuse me. For each one here, for each line, it goes from -20 to -40 to -60, so each line is 20 degrees. That's probably too much if we're trying to get good, accurate readings of temperature just by looking at the graph. So we want to change our major unit. The major unit is telling us how much value is going to be between each line. So in this case it's 20. I may want it to be only 5 degrees. Whoa, not 520. 5 degrees. Not 50. 5. And so you could do 2. Yeah, that would be more pieces of data, or 3. And then you can see all the increments here on the y-axis changing. You can do the same for the x-axis. For mine, you can't quite see mine because I need to move it up. Here it's my date, and you can change how you format your date by going to number and unclick linked to source. It'll let you then select these different options. So I'll do date, and I'll just keep it like that. Okay? Make sure you add in your data label. So I'll go up to Toolbox. I can give my chart a title. By chart options, I choose my chart title and whatever I want to put in there. No, just the date, the high, and the low. That's all you have to do. But keep in mind, yeah, no, never mind that thought. Does that make sense though? Not the time, you don't need to put anything in like that. You would only want to put time on there if we were saying what the current temperature is each day. So when you come into class, and if I said it's 50 degrees, you would want to include that on your chart, just so people understood that every day it's taken at 1 o'clock or whatever time it is. So we're taking temperature, because it's going to be a lot different if it's the middle of the night or early in the morning. But we don't need to for this. Okay, then you want to change all of your titles for your axes. X-axis, date. Make sure you capitalize the first letter for all of these. Okay, if I put lowercase d, that's just improper. You don't want to do that. Make it capitalized. Vertical axis. Temperature. Does everyone know how to spell temperature? It's not spelled the way it sounds. So temperature, I know that's how you guys say it. A lot of you are spelling it temperature. And I've seen a lot of my earth science kids doing the same thing. Temperature, okay? T-E-M-P-E-R-A-T-U-R-E. Temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. Change it up by changing the colors, but keep in mind this is a black and white printer, so when you print it off, it's not going to be red or blue or any of these beautiful colors that you're selecting on here. Yes, you're going to print these off. So what you're going to do at this point is, when you get all of this done and you have it how you want, I would suggest maybe keeping your high like a dark color and making your low a lighter color. So maybe I'll double click it and choose my color just as a very light blue. When it prints up, it's going to be a very light gray for my blue, and it's going to be a darker red color for the red. I would probably format the squares to go with it. What thing? So you're printing it off from a black and white printer. So you want one to be dark, one to be light. You can go back through. I have markers sitting in the canister on top of the cow, and you can use some of those markers in to color in your graph. Okay? Hold up. Let me keep talking, okay? When you get to this part, I just put title at the top. You're not just going to put title for yours, okay? You're going to put whatever you think a good title would be for this. But from this part, I'm going to click on my graph. Don't click on the middle of it, because now you're selecting different parts of it. Click off on the side. I'm going to push Control on my keyboard and then click on it, and it gives me this option, Save as Picture. So my chart now I'm just going to save as a picture. It's not going to be a file other than just a picture file. And I'm going to save it to my desktop, and I'll just put graph. Graph 1, save to my desktop. Now I can close out of this. And then I can open up my graph, and then I can print it off. Otherwise, if you try to print out of Excel, it's going to have the cells behind it. And I can just go up to File, Print, and make sure you print to printer number 14 down in the library. Printer 14. At that point, just say, hey, Mr. Yen, I'm going to get my graph, and go out of the room. You don't have to come up and wait in line and Mr. Yen, I need my graph. Just tell me and go, okay? I will trust that that's where you're going and that you'll be back quickly. I trust you. I don't know why. Yes. I'll make it private.
I have a canister of markers on the cow.
Don't have a cow. I can make it private.